Okay, hello and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Abigail Grace, or Abby, and today we are doing my July wrap up, as it is now August. Shocking. This video is going up actually while I'm in Scotland, so I will be vlogging my Scotland trip, and those vlogs will be coming soon, which is so exciting. But that'll be a few weeks from when this video goes up, because I have another one like ready for before the Scotland vlog. But I had a pretty good reading month this month. I read, I believe, 14 books, and we're going to talk about them. I'm going to give you the rating that I gave them on Goodreads, 1 to 5, a little spoiler-free summary, and you know how this works. Let's get into it. The first book I read this month was The Friendship Study by Ruby Barrett, and I read this because Heather here on YouTube and on TikTok, or Heath's book club, I believe is what she is on TikTok. I say Heath in my head, but I know that's not how she pronounces it. Anyway, she was reading this in a vlog and she was saying good things, and the plot like intrigued me, so I immediately ordered it. And I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was, I want to call it friends to lovers, but it starts out, the two main characters, Jesse and Lulu, go on a blind date. They have a mutual friend that sets them up on a blind date, and the date doesn't go amazing, but they end up like having like such a hot steamy makeout. And then they both end up in a study that the university in their town is putting on that studies friendships in millennials. And so they are forced to be friends through that, and they're not supposed to, or not allowed to, like have sex or be in relationships with people in the study. So there's some interesting stuff happening. Jesse is an ex-firefighter, and Lulu is a professor. Jesse is bisexual. This was good. I think it was different than a lot of the, like, I wouldn't call this rom-com, like, but the romance books that I read, it had different things, and sometimes I feel like I'm reading the same thing over and over again, so this was nice to like read something different. So there was that. Next, I read Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher, and I actually read this in a video, so that will be linked in the corner. But that video was reading new releases, and I liked this. I did end up giving it 4 stars. I just think it's too long. I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have the physical copy, but it's like 600 plus pages, and for me, for a romance, that's just too long. I feel like it's max 400. It's probably somewhere in that 350 range though. But needless to say, regardless of that, it was Nanny and the father, and she is like a songwriter who like abruptly left LA where she was living to like do songwriting and move back to the small town where she starts nannying for Raphael and his son. So music is a big part of it. It was good, but I just think Lauren Asher keeps writing long books. And this was also the second in the Lakefront Billionaires, so obviously He's a billionaire. He has lots of money. There's a main plot point where they go to Hawaii on like a vacation. So it was like summery vibes. So read it while summer's still happening if you want to. Next, also for that video, I read The Perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. I gave this one, let me check to be sure, 4 stars as well. And this is the third in a series. It's the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney series. And basically the series follows like the next generation of Jane Austen's characters. So obviously, or maybe not obviously, the Mr. Darcy in question here is not the Mr. Darcy we know and love from Pride and Prejudice, but in fact, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy's, or what's his first name? Fitzwilliam's son, Jonathan. And Miss Tilney is adjacently related to one of the other books. Juliet is her first name, but the first book is like set at a house party that Emma and Mr. Knightley are throwing. The second book, Mrs. Willoughby is there, Mr. and Mrs. Willoughby are there, and it's like the Sense and Sensibility ladies. And this one was set at, not Pemberley, where is Rosings? So like Mr. Collins is a main character in this one, and it's just fun, but they're all like mysteries. And Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney, Jonathan and Juliet, work together to solve like a mystery or a murder, in this case attempted murder. So I gave this one 4 stars. Next, I read Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Again, this was in that same video. I talk about it in depth. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I'm sure you've heard the discourse. It was like a stepping stone for book 3. So I'm hopeful that book 3 will be just amazing because I really liked book 1. This one just was nothing special, but I like the characters, so I gave it 4 stars. The plot didn't have a lot of plot to it. And I felt like the like cliffhanger at the end, I personally like saw coming. I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but I was not super shocked by it. I'm interested to see where it goes in book 3. So those are my thoughts on Reckless. 4 stars, but cautiously optimistic for book 3. The last book I read for that video is The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I have loved Catherine Center's last 3 books. I have not read all of her stuff, but I loved The Bodyguard. I really enjoyed Hello Stranger, and this one ended up being 5 stars for me. It kind of is reminiscent of Beach Read to me because it's like 2 writers, but this time they're screenwriters that usually don't write the same like genre of movie, and they work together to write a rom-com movie. And the thing that I love about Catherine Center is there's always other like plots. It's not just the romance that feel very like meaningful and heartfelt. And in this one, her dad has a chronic illness that she has been his caretaker, and it's really hard for her to like let that go. So she has a lot of anxiety around that because she had to leave her dad to write this film. And I think it was really well done, and always will read Catherine Center's new releases. Maybe I should read some of her back catalog because I've enjoyed her recent books. So 5 stars for this one. Next, I read The Next Best Fling by Gabriella Gamez. I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but this is the first in an interconnected series that's called Librarians in Love, which love. And our FMC. She is a librarian, and she has been in love with her guy best friend for years, and she finds out that he is getting engaged and gonna get married. Sorry, Kate's at the door. She wants to be let in. Let me go get her. Okay. She'll be joining me in a second, I guess. She needed some drips, some water. She finds out that her best friend is getting married, and when she shows up for like the engagement party, her best friend's brother, she discovers that he is in love with the girl that her best friend is marrying. So they're each in love with the like part of this couple, and so in order to kind of make it through the wedding and not draw attention to the fact that they are in love with the couple, or the members of the couple, I don't know, they start like a fake fling that turns into, of course, something real. I ended up giving this one 3.75. I gave it a 3 on Goodreads just because it didn't feel like a 4, but it was close. I will probably read the other books in this like series when they come out, because this was a new release. So it was fun to try something new, and I liked the premise of it. It was different as well. Next, I read In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros, our queen of Fourth Wing. This is the first book I've read that's not in the Fourth Wing series by her. This was for book club, and I actually enjoyed this one more than I thought I would. It's a then now timeline, which I think makes the reading like quicker because I'm like trying to get back and forth. I also read this in a video. This was my Finding 5-Star Reads video. So watch that one if you want to hear me talk about it more. But I ended up giving this one 4 stars, and I think it was well done. I don't know, it didn't feel like that 5 stars to me, but I did, once I got into it, read it really quickly. Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse because I did do a reading vlog where I talked about it, so that's going to be, go watch that video. Next, for my other book club, which is back in Birmingham where I went to school. I don't go very often, but every once in a while I will read the book and go back down to Birmingham for book club. So that book was Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I have read Nora Goes Off Script, which is right here, but I have not read her like book that came out after this, but before this. I don't know why, it just was not on my radar. But after picking this up, and I gave Nora Goes Off Script 5 stars, I gave this one this could be 4.5, but this was so good. It's like kind of again in that Emily Henry, like Catherine Center range of like summery rom-coms that also have like a other plot, which is really important. So this is about Allie, and she is a newly divorced mom of 3, and she decides that she's gonna have a little summer romance, but it turns out to not be as simple as that when she, of course, develops some very real feelings for this man. And I think this is a very good story about, like, obviously the romance of it, but she kind of comes into herself and regains her power post-divorce, which was really cool to see. She like reconciles her relationship with her mom through her relationship with her daughter, and it was just really well done. And I know that I would enjoy her other book, so I will be picking that one up soon before the summer's over. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to wait for next summer. But I gave this one 4 stars. It's probably like 4.5. It was close to 5. This was very good. Next, I read The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. She also wrote The Nanny and The Fake Mate, which are up there, you can't see. And this is a hockey romance, which just shows, I think, the like range that Lana has, because the first book she wrote, or the first book that I read, The Nanny, is like a nanny romance, and then The Fake Mate is a like Omegaverse shifter romance, and this one is a hockey romance. Granted, all romance, but all spanning the spectrum of different types of romance. And I know she has like a monster romance coming out, or maybe it's already out. I don't remember what it's called, but I will be getting it. I'm intrigued. And this is brother's best friend. She's had a crush on him for forever. She falls first, but he falls harder. And she is a baker on a TV show. He is a hockey player who's had some bad press, and basically they like, her agents and his agents, like they come up with this idea where he's gonna go on her show and it's gonna like be good press for both of them, but then people start to like ship them as a couple, and so they're like, you should just kind of lean into it because it'll be good for both of your careers. They do, but of course they start to develop very real feelings, and this was amazing. Again, not quite 5 stars. I was reading this for my this video ends in a 5-star read video, and I had a string of 4s that were like so close but just not quite 5 stars, and this was in that string. Still very enjoyable though. Next I read For the Record, which is a marriage of convenience. Wow, should I give this book 4 stars? So I'm kind of shocked that I gave it 4 stars. I might have to change it to 3. Anyway, this is also within Now Timeline, and these are, the two main characters. They meet and have like a one-night stand, and then find out that her best friend is marrying his brother. And so they just decide to like be friends, but they form like a really deep and meaningful friendship. And then one day they wake up in Vegas and they've gotten married, and they decide to stay married because he's in the military and she could use his like medical benefits, obviously, because her dad has dementia or Alzheimer's, I'm not sure. And she is his caretaker and needs the extra help. So they stay married for her to have that. And it's really sweet, really, like the way she cares about her father, and he is like head over heels for her from the beginning, but she doesn't know. And it was really well done, I think. So I gave it 4 stars. It's probably like 3.5. Because 4 feels a little high for me. I'm actually gonna change the rating in Goodreads right now to 3, just because I think that's more accurate. Next, I read The Getaway List by Emma Lord. This was also in that 5-star read video, and this was the book that ended my streak of 4s. This was 5 stars. Now, I was hoping when I chose this that it would be 5 stars, as I hope for any book that I pick up that it's gonna be amazing and be 5 stars. But the reason why I was hoping specifically for this one to be 5 stars is because last year I read Begin Again, also by Emma Lord, and it was amazing. 5 stars, like in my favorites. I don't talk about it very much, but it's still really good. I should reread it. Bawled my eyes out, crying, and this is about 2 friends, and they have had like a long distance friendship. He's in the city and she lives in Virginia, and the summer after they both graduate from high school, she decides to go to New York to visit him and accomplish the items on the getaway list that they never got to do because he moved away. There's this awesome cast of supporting characters that do the things on the getaway list with them, and it's just like fun and young in New York. It's a coming of age. She has like a tense relationship with her mom, so does he, and like they were both raised by single mothers. So it's a really good coming of age book, and I think that's what Begin Again is too, like just really honestly and potently talks about growing up and moving on post college, post high school. Even though this was high school, I think it's still relevant for me as a 24-year-old, like post grad. So this was 5 stars. It was very well done, and I will always recommend Emma Lord. I think I've read most of her books. I have like Tweet Cute down here, You Have a Match, and When You Get the Chance. Maybe all of her books, but this one was really good. So it's YA also, and there is romance. I don't think I talked about that at all, but there's romance. So very cute, love. Next, for another video, almost all of the books that I read this month were for reading vlogs. So check out all the reading vlogs I posted this month because I talk about all of them. Actually, this reading vlog won't be up yet when this goes up. This will come out after, but this was my finishing series I'm in the middle of video, and I read Well Matched, which I accidentally read book 1, 2, and 4 of this series. This was book 3, so I skipped ahead but came back to this one. This is age gap, but she is like 10 years older than him, which I feel like is rare. So that was interesting, different, fun. And these are all set at like a Renaissance fair setting, and he is, I don't know if you can see this, wearing a kilt. I'm going to Scotland, so I was just thinking perfect timing with the kilt, even though it's here, set here, and it's a Renaissance fair, but it just felt right. She's a single mother, and this is like, there's a little fake dating, and it's also like friends with benefits, which turns into more, I don't know, like I've read several books this month that had that happen, and I don't know, I would never have said that I liked that, but I did give all of them like a kind of high rating, so I don't know. But this was 4 stars. I liked this whole series. I do think the first one is the best one, but they're all good. Next, I read Body Check by Elle Kennedy, which actually was from the library, and I just returned it to the library, so I don't have it with me. But this is Elle Kennedy's first hockey romance that she wrote, but she like republished it. So she like added things to it, and it's like got more than when she self-published it. This was spicy. I will say that. Like, Elle Kennedy doesn't usually hold back on the spice, but this one felt like particularly spicy, especially considering I went into it thinking it might be YA. I don't know why I thought that. It's not YA. It's definitely adult, new adult. And it's also not set at a college campus, which the rest of Elle Kennedy's hockey romances, which are down here, you can't see, are college, set in college, and more specifically at Briar U. This book is not. He's a professional athlete, and she is the owner of the team that he plays for's daughter. They have a one-night stand, which, oh my goodness, has happened multiple times. And he becomes like obsessed with her and wants to see her again, and she doesn't want this to like be anything serious. She's like, okay, like we can see each other again, but it's just gonna be a fling. It's just gonna be physical. This is not gonna be anything serious. And lo and behold, it becomes something more. But there's also like a whole scandal with her dad that's really interesting to like see unravel. So I ended up giving that one 4 stars as well. Then I read 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson for my finishing series video. This is book 5 in the Truly Devious series. The first 3 in that series are like all following like more of the same mystery, and then book 4 and this one have like separate mysteries but same cast of characters. I did give this one 5 stars. Then I went to check Goodreads, and of course everyone was giving it 2 stars. A lot of the commentary that I saw on Goodreads was that people didn't like that this felt like it had more romance, like they didn't like the romantic lead, and that's fair, but I am a romance girly, so I liked having the romance, and I liked the romantic lead. I've liked him, and I've liked seeing their relationship. The mystery was also really good. Like there was twists and reveals that I didn't see coming. And it's told like then now as well. I did listen to this on audiobook, which might have helped. I think the narrator was really good, and that can definitely shift some perspective as far as how the book is to you. So if you are looking to read this, maybe listen to it, because I thought the audiobook was really good. The narrator was amazing. So I gave this one 5 stars. And well done, Maureen. She has another standalone mystery out that is not connected to these characters. And I would be interested to read that one because I've really liked all of her other books. And last but not least, also for my finishing series video, I finished These Hollow Boughs duet or duology, however you want to call it, which was These Twisted Bonds. And again, I talk all about this in the video, but I do think the first 30 to 40% were pretty slow, and then the last 60% were jam-packed with content. Like it almost felt like too much in the last bit, especially even the last like 15%. Our main character was forced with a decision that felt like it was going to be a lose-lose, and she picked like the better of 2 bad options, you know, and like up until the last 10% you're like, oh, so she's going to have to go through with this, and then something changes and you get the ending that you wanted the whole time, but it happened so fast. Like it literally happened within pages and then the book was over, and I just like felt like it was a little rushed. I needed more. That being said, I gave the first book 3.5 stars, and this one was definitely 4. I thought it was better. I think the series as a whole is probably a 4-star series. The fantasy is easy to get into. There's not very much world building. It is YA. The romance is good. There's a love triangle. The magic system is pretty well like developed but also easy to understand. So if you haven't really gotten into fantasy or just don't want like a heavy adult fantasy with lots of politics, this would probably be good. So those are all of the books that I read in July. As I said, I'm traveling, so hopefully I'll get some good reading done while I'm on vacation. But I'm excited for the month ahead. There's again some fun new releases coming out. I do feel like the summer was jam-packed with new releases, and things are starting to finally slow down. I feel like I can get to my TBR because I don't feel like I'm just being inundated with new books. So I'm excited. I'm looking at my TBRs in front of me. You're sitting like on the shelf that the TBR is on, and there's some good stuff that I'm excited to get to. So as always, you can follow my TikTok and Instagram down below. See me talk about books frequently, more in the moment reactions to those things, and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. I did just hit 1,000 subscribers, which was so exciting for me. So definitely subscribe if you are not. If you liked this video and want to see more things like it, I do lots of reading vlogs, but also just vlogs. So I'll see you somewhere else on the internet or just back here next week for a new video. Bye guys.